All right, welcome back. So this is going to be step 2 notes where you are learning how to create doors and windows in perspective. So we're going to be taking notes again, and then you're going to be on your own doing your own doors and windows. So this is what the notes will look like in the end. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to start off with just a blank sheet of paper. In the top right hand corner, I'm going to write my first name, my last name, my period, whatever that may be for you. And then this will be notes number 2. In the first step, we learned how important it was to make sure that the triangle that we're using is always lined up with the edge of your paper so that it can ensure that you get perfectly straight lines. So we're going to start off just like we did in the first one. So we're going to make a horizontal line going through the middle of your paper. Make sure that your triangle is lined up with the edge of your paper. And go ahead and draw that horizon line in. You are drawing light. I'm just drawing a little bit darker so you can see it on my video. We're going to go ahead and put the vanishing point right in the middle, just a tiny little dot, making it super easy on you. And we're going to be incorporating what we learned in the first step into our second step. So we're going to start off by drawing a box here and a box here, and then we're going to put in our doors and windows. So this is a short little recap of how to make boxes. I would definitely try to make boxes similar to mine. They're going to be a lot larger, a lot longer, and that's going to help you in the long run for notes number 2. So I'm going to start off by making 2 vertical lines. Followed by 2 horizontal lines. Again, even if your triangle is lined up just a little bit on the edge of your paper, a little bit is better than nothing. So make sure you're lining up your triangle with the edge of your paper and go ahead and draw in those 2 horizontal lines now. So I've got a nice big box going. If you make a mistake, you can always erase. I see I have some excess lines here, so I'm going to go ahead and erase those. And we're going to take the 3 closest points to the vanishing point. So I'm going to line up my triangle, and I'm going to take this point here to the vanishing point. This does not require any drawing skills whatsoever. You just take some time to line up everything and it'll look really good. If you make a mistake, don't forget to erase your lines. You should be drawing really, really lightly. That way it's much easier to erase. So I made a mistake here. I'm going to go ahead and take my eraser and just erase. And you want to erase that pretty thoroughly to where you don't see that line anymore. Okay, I'm going to try to draw that back in. And then I'm going to cut my box off. So if you ever are confused on how to cut your boxes off, just look at the edges of your shape. So this one is going to be a vertical cut. And I'm going to make my box purposely long because I've got to fit a door and a window on here. So make sure you're making long cuts for these notes. And then I'm going to need a horizontal cut. If your lines look crooked, it's probably because you forgot to line up your triangle with the edge of your paper. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and erase my excess lines. Just like that. Now, if you're struggling with doing boxes above, you can simply rotate your paper and just repeat what we just did. But for our notes, I'm gonna go ahead and just draw it as is. So again, I'm gonna start off with 2 vertical lines. And I'm making my box pretty big, followed by 2 horizontal lines. Again, make sure you're taking the time to make sure that your triangle is lined up with the edge of your paper anytime you're doing horizontal or vertical lines. I'm going to go ahead and erase my excess lines. And I'm going to take the 3 closest points to the vanishing point. When you get really good at this, you do not need to draw the line all the way to the vanishing point. And then we're going to take this last point to the vanishing point now. And we're going to cut off our box. So I'm going to need a horizontal cut on this side. Again, for these notes, we're going to make our box a little bit long. That way I can fit a door and a window easily. If you notice, my triangle lines up on the bottom of my paper. So I got a vertical line here. And now I'm going to do a horizontal line. And again, you see me taking my time to line the triangle up with the edge of my paper to get those nice straight lines. If your lines look crooked, it's probably because they are crooked. And then if you ever notice, like right here, I didn't quite meet up with my lines, it's not the end of the world. What you can do is just create another line. So if you ever mess up, you can either erase it and start over, or I can just take it in a little bit and then erase my excess lines. So there are 2 options for you if you do mess up on your notes today. So I'm erasing my excess lines now. Make sure you're drawing light. And I know in step 1 we did a box on the horizon. Today we are not going to do that. We're just going to focus on boxes above and below the horizon. All right, so we're going to start off in the leftmost box, so this box that I'm pointing at right now. We're going to start off by making the easy ones first, so front doors and front windows. So when we make our front door, we're going to start off with 2 vertical lines. Followed by 1 horizontal line for the top part of your door. Again, don't forget to make sure you line up your triangle with the edge of your paper, even if it's just a little bit. So that looks like a door, right? So now I gotta give it a little bit of depth. And how to do that is I gotta pretend that I am walking into this door. So if you wanna draw a little stick figure as a reminder, you can. If you understand this, then you don't have to. So I'm gonna take the furthest point of the door, which is right here, going to the vanishing point. So I would make this note. So furthest point to vanishing point, and you can just write VP. So furthest point goes to the vanishing point. We're going to take this point and we're going to line it up all the way to the vanishing point, and we're just going to draw right inside our door. So we're going to take it and we're just going to draw it right to here, so it looks just like that. I want to be able to walk inside my door, so I'm going to go ahead and erase this line. Don't want to trip, so I'm going to erase this line right here. And now we have our door. So that should be really easy. We're gonna also do windows next, but remember, with any kind of drawing exercise or activity, if you don't get it or understand it, the more you practice, the better you're gonna get. So now we're gonna do a window. So we're gonna do it the same way. So 2 vertical lines followed by 2 horizontal lines for our window. I'm making sure that my triangle is lined up with my edge of my paper right now. So I got vertical line there. I'm gonna go ahead and actually flip my triangle around. If your triangle doesn't feel good to you, you can always flip it. All right. And I'm gonna draw this other vertical line here. So I've got 2 vertical lines. Now I gotta make 2 horizontal lines. That looks pretty good. If your lines look crooked, they're really going to show in this activity. So make sure that you are lining that triangle up. All right, I'm erasing my excess lines. And then the same thing happens here. I'm going to take the furthest point and it's going to go to the vanishing point. Now, we're not making any fancy windows. We're just learning the basics. So this is all I'm making you do. So furthest point away went to the vanishing point. All right, so now we're ready to do side doors and side windows. So I'm going to take my triangle and I am going to make 2 vertical lines. But this time, if you notice, the door is going into the distance. So the top part of your door is actually going to go to the vanishing point. So I'm going to line up the top parts of my door to the vanishing point. Just like that. You might have a lot of excess that you might need to erase. All right. So I'm imagining my person again, walking down, going this way. You don't have to draw your person if you don't want to, but it helps me visualize things. So if I want to go inside this door, there's got to be some depth involved. So at this point right here, you want to make a note. I usually just draw an arrow. And this point, so the point that meets the floor, gets a horizontal. And I just put an H. So the point that meets the floor gets a horizontal. So I'm going to take my triangle, line it up with the edge of my paper, and I am going to go ahead and just draw a horizontal where the point meets the floor. And then I'm going to go ahead and erase my excess. Now we're ready to do our window. So windows are pretty much the same way. We're going to start off with 2 vertical lines. Followed by lines that connect to the vanishing point. So the top and the bottom of your window, they are going to connect to your vanishing point. Just like this. And then erase any excess lines that you might have. And we're done. So we're gonna go ahead and do this top one here a little bit quicker. Oh, actually, I did notice I forgot to do the depth inside my window. So again, where the point meets the floor, we're going to do a horizontal. And if you ever forget on windows, instead of the point that meets the floor, you're just doing the same point that you did on your door. So if it's the bottom right, it's gonna also be the bottom right for that. All right, so we are done with this box. we're gonna do this box here. And when you're doing your final by yourself, if you get super confused on what it's supposed to look like, all you have to do is turn what you know upside down and you'll be able to more easily visualize it. So we're gonna go ahead and do front doors and front windows. So I'm gonna go a little bit faster now. So I'm gonna start off with 2 vertical lines. Again, make sure that your triangles line up to the edge of your paper. And then a horizontal line. Erase your excess. Furthest point away goes to the vanishing point. And you're just drawing it inside your door. And then we want to be able to walk inside, so we're going to erase this excess line here at the top. Now for my front windows. So 2 vertical lines. Followed by 2 horizontal lines. And then the furthest point away is going to go to the vanishing point. So the furthest point away is going to go to the vanishing point. I do see some excess there, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. So furthest point away, take it to the vanishing point. Erase my excess. And we're going to do the side doors and side windows now. So for a side door, we're going to draw 2 vertical lines. And because it is on the side, you see those lines growing into the distance. They are meeting at the vanishing point. So we're going to line up the top part of our door to the vanishing point and draw that in. And because we're working with the sky instead of the ground now, the point that meets the sky will get a horizontal line. So right here, we'll get a horizontal line. And again, if you get really confused by that, just turn it upside down and it'll make a lot more sense to you. So I'm making a horizontal line. Don't forget to line your triangle up with the edge of your paper. And we want to be able to walk in our door, so we're going to erase that excess right there. And now we're ready for our final window. So our side window, we're going to need to do 2 vertical lines. And then the top and bottom parts of your window, those are going to meet up with the vanishing point. Like that. You might have a lot of excess, and that's okay. You can just erase it. So I have a lot of excess going on, so I'm going to erase that. All right, so that is pretty much it for your notes. Your notes are there to help you. So you are ready to begin your final draft. All you have to do is take your notes, turn them over, write your first name, your last name, whatever your period is, and then this is final number 2. So first name, last name, period, final number 2. You are going to have to make exactly the same thing on your own. So you're going to need to make a box below and above. I would highly suggest doing them in the corners. They're a little bit easier. You're going to have front doors and front windows on both boxes, and side doors and side windows in your other boxes. I did notice I am missing the depth for this window, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that in just like that. So your note should look exactly like mine. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.